Hey guys, welcome back. I hope everybody's doing well today. It's so nice out. It's like 80 degrees. It's beautiful. I'm just at the nature park, chilling. You know, it's been a blessing to not work. I told God that so many times. Like, what a delight. I would have never come to the conclusions or realizations of a lot of things in my life if I was still working. Sometimes it takes isolation, which people tried to isolate me, but that was actually such a benefit because God was like, no, you need to be isolated because you need to learn some stuff. It was kind of cool. So the outcome that these people wanted, that's not even what occurred. You actually put me in isolation, and it turned out to be the best part of me. So, right on, dude. So, anyway, but as I was like in my isolation, I just got so close with God. I was always close, but I learned a lot of other things that I never knew. Life can be not what you think, you know? It can be actually an illusion. The people you thought you knew that you were like, oh, they'd never do that. Or the relationships you have, you think they're one way, but they're not. It's so odd, you know? It took a few years for me to accept it and absorb it and, like, just know that's what it was. So, all good now, right? It took some time. But that's what God does. He knows that sometimes when He gives you information, it may really hurt, right? But He does that and then allows you to heal from it, right? So He can give you the next piece of information if there's more. For me, it took years because there was so much information. It's kind of crazy. Still being followed. Of course, these people have nothing to do. Somehow, this spiritual warfare has literally affected everyone around me. It's kind of crazy. I never in my life thought I would even be in a spiritual warfare, but turns out I've been in it my whole life fighting a battle. It's just that the more years that passed in my life, the more people were added to the warfare. And then coming up into my 30s, it was literally like everyone around me. So crazy. Who would have thought, you know? But no worries. It can get me down if I think about it, but then I go right back to the thought of, well, who's above everybody? The Most High. And He's on my side, so that is all that matters. You know what I mean? So that's cool. But, I'm just excited to have a new chapter, a new book in life, away from anyone that's going to affect me spiritually or in the 3D intentionally, right? Sometimes you don't really know the intentions of people. They can act one way, right? But spiritually, they can be a totally different thing. And that's really who they are, right? So, just because somebody says something, you need to go by how they move, how they act, how they treat other people. Do they follow up? Do they follow through, right? You need to look at that stuff. Is the word or words that they're using, is there meaning behind it? Is there love behind it? What are the intentions, right? Because that's really what tells you who somebody is, okay? So, there's just been some odd facts that have came up that have reminded me. I put a video on here about how I had a dream, you know, about my spouse that passed away 10 years ago. I had a dream, okay, and if you look at the video, I talk about that. I think the title's like Trump, a dream I had. I don't know, something else. I forget what it was. Go back and look. But Um, anyway, I was just, it was just reminded me of this because it was just a few months ago that I was at the gas station by my house, and there was a blue BMW, like a baby blue BMW, okay, that pulled up to the gas station right at the front door. The person never got out. I didn't even think anything of it. I went into the gas station and I came back out, and the person was sitting there with their window down, just staring at me, like mean mugging me, right? And I was in shock thinking, is that Adam, my spouse that passed away? Or it was like his nephew, Aiden, okay, that looks just like him in a sense. I couldn't believe it. I was seriously like, I didn't even crack a smile, nothing. I mean, mugged back. I was just sitting there staring, like, is that who I think it is? Right? For them to just pull up, roll down their window, and stare at me to come out the gas station door to give me a shitty look. Huh. Obviously, they know me. And then they pulled off when I got into my car. My daughter was in the car. I said, hey, whose car does that look like? And she immediately said, her grandpa's. Okay? Adam's stepdad, Ryan. It looks like his car. Well, I was like, huh, yeah, that's exactly what I thought too. Right? Interesting. Very interesting. It goes along with the court case I looked up, and things were updated in 2020, 2021, and 2023. He had been dead since 17. How can you execute a sentence in 2023 when you've been dead since 2017? Does that make any sense? I don't think so. So, like I said in the video before that I was just speaking of, um, all the depression, tears, heartache, and regret that I felt for years over him dying, just wanting him to get better for our family, for me, for himself, for his family. I finally healed from that. So I would never consider ever being back with someone that did something like that. I hope that's not the case. But for some reason, facts are pointing to that. It's so weird. And I'm only going by facts. I'm not going by like, well, I think. I'm going by tangible facts, okay? And it's interesting how everyone around me has been affected, turned on me in a sense, gave me like this weird look, like, what? Like, they just turned odd. It was so weird. And I was with that person for 20 years. So to think they could have an effect on my family of how they see me, view me, whatever, it's like, oh my gosh, what happened to everybody? Even the last person that lived with me, Jared, okay, turned out to be, once again, like, oh my gosh, dude. I swear, these people are tests in my life, okay? Because the lessons gained and knowledge learned from each person I encounter in my life is like so monumental. It's like, yeah, it sucked going through that. It sucked having to be in that position for someone to steal from you and lie and all these things, okay? But you know what? Lesson learned. That's why I like to learn the lesson the first time, okay? So, I don't know. Sometimes I think, well, maybe I'm too naive. I used to be naive. I lived in a town where there was like no crime. I mean, really, I didn't really even know crime at all until I moved. And I was like, whoa, people are pretty, ruthless. I mean, like, if I do something wrong, I feel convictions of that. The closer you are to God, if you do something wrong, it's like an instant conviction. He's gonna have you feel that, like, oh, you shouldn't have done that, you know? And that just lets me know, like, they're removing God from life because people feel nothing. They don't even have emotions. They don't feel sorry for other people. They don't put themselves in that person's shoes. They don't feel remorse. Like, what the heck? It's so sad. Life is different than what we see. I'm not saying it's bad. But the fact that slowly over time, the ones in charge have slowly but surely like placed these things in front of us that get us to see life in a specific way. And it's almost like a rock forming. Each layer just concretes it so it's, more sturdy and more sturdy, right? And that's what happens when you're like in your 20s, 30s, right? When you're like in your 40s, that's why they say an old dog can't learn new tricks, is because like they're set in those ways. It's like a permanent stone, right? At that point. But that's false. Anyone can change their values, beliefs, or behaviors at any time in their life. It doesn't matter. You can be any age. It's whether or not you have the willpower to do it, right? When God keeps showing you something, or you keep getting reminded of something, or something keeps just filling off, that's because you need to recognize it, you know? And when you take the time to recognize what life really is, yeah, it can be sad. But it's also like a life changer because you avoid a lot of the potholes that come up, especially Indianapolis. Man, we have the worst roads. Okay, I don't know where our tax dollars go. It's not the lottery. We have the worst roads around, probably of any state. Okay, you could probably go to the Sahara Desert and get a more of a smooth ride. Okay, so anyway, it is what it is. Like what a day. It's just always staying optimistic. You know, sometimes you want stuff out of life, or you want certain things, or you know, it just isn't meant to be. You know, so it is what it is. There's no need to be upset about it. Sometimes, God doesn't allow things to happen because it shouldn't, even though you may feel a certain way about it. But sometimes God stops things, holds things, puts up roadblocks or delays stuff for a reason, right? If you follow the Lord, if you follow guidance, then you're going to know that everything does happen in divine timing, right? It's never when you want it to be, it's when God wants it to be. And it's always the right thing, right? No matter what. If He created all, then obviously He's going to know all. Okay? So awesome. So, confirmation. What do you know? I've been getting synchronicities. The amount I get every day is just lets me know I'm on the right path. There you go. Confirmation again. I love you guys. Don't give up. Don't give in. Sometimes stuff is hard, but just take it day by day, right? It can last for a while, but it never lasts forever. Just know that. Nothing lasts forever, right? Pain, hurt, anger, any of that, it always goes away. So just work through it, figure it out, whatever it is, whatever it is that you're trying to work through, right? And it will get better. But it only gets better if you chisel away at it and if you get to the center of it, right? That's how stuff works. So, praise it to the Most High. Nothing happens without Him. I love you guys. Have a good day.